Many who were arrested were held for several hours in dreadful conditions in a makeshift detention center. However, almost all were released within 24 hours without being charged. In response, the lawyers of the plaintiffs say that these actions were a breach of Canadian citizens' basic civil rights.
Scary moments on the Casa Loma campus of George Brown College this morning. After a fight between two students, police swept the building searching for a suspect with a knife. The school initiated a lockdown at 10:50 a.m. this morning and lifted it just after noon. Toronto police say a caller reported one of the students pulled a knife during an altercation. A release from the school says one student has non-critical injuries. The suspect has not been located within the school. They're still searching for a male described as brown, in his late teens or early 20s, and around 5'11".
A 13-year-old girl is in hospital with life-threatening injuries after being struck by a car while trying to catch a bus. The accident happened just after 8:30 this morning at Shepherd Avenue East and Gateforth Drive. Police say when they arrived at the scene, the victim was drifting in and out of consciousness. The intersection has since been closed for investigation. The girl is being treated at Sick Kids Hospital. Her name has not been released. The driver remained on the scene, and so far, no charges were to be laid. A Toronto woman is in hospital after being beaten and robbed in an underground parking garage in Scarborough. Authorities say that the woman was driving her BMW into her apartment building parking garage when three male occupants in a black Nissan SUV assaulted her, striking her in the head with a large stick. Investigators say the suspect stole her purse and her car. The victim suffered minor head injuries and is expected to recover.
The trial for the men charged in the murder of Tim Bosma continues today. Brendan Daly, a friend of accused Mark Smitch, is facing cross-examination today. Daly told the jury yesterday that Smitch became anxious in May 2013 when Dylan Millard was arrested in connection with Bosma's death. He also said that Smitch kept a gun in a toolbox at his mother's home and got a friend to move it after the arrest of Millard, the other suspect in Bosma's murder. Both Smitch and Millard have pleaded not guilty to first-degree murder. The Ontario Provincial Police are investigating an incident on the 401 early this morning after a transport truck lost a wheel. It happened around 2:15 a.m. in the eastbound express lanes near Warden Avenue. The wheel hit another vehicle. No one was injured. Canadian police forces are looking to make police body cameras part of the uniform. A 10-month trial period where 100 Toronto police officers wore body cameras proved to be a big success. Now, Edmonton is going to launch its own trial of cameras, and Calgary is equipping all frontline police with cameras starting in 2017.
The CAA is asking for the public to vote for the worst roads in Canada. The voting lasts 3 weeks, and anyone can take part by going to the CAA website, selecting your region, and voting for the road that you think needs the most repairs. You have until April 29th to vote. The CAA will then use the info to try to get politicians to lay down some new pavement. A poll released today that found a majority of Torontonians would prefer internet voting. The poll was done by Main Street and shows that 59% of people in the city would prefer to vote online. The poll also shows that 59% prefer ranked ballots. The idea of ranked ballots also has the approval of Mayor John Tory.
Former Cabinet Minister Kelly Littich is the first official candidate to replace Stephen Harper as Conservative leader. Littich submitted her application to Conservative Leadership Party this morning. Now she just has to register with Elections Canada. The vote for the next Conservative leader is scheduled for May 27, 2017. Our reporter Neil Rampone takes a closer look at Sheridan's e-waste collection drive next week. Neil?
Thanks, Kavya. Ever wonder what to do with your old electronics? Well, Sheridan's Office of Sustainability might have a solution for you.
On April 13th to 14th, Sheridan College will be having its e-waste pickup days in hopes that students will bring their old electronics to recycle rather than throw them in the garbage and their electronics ending up here instead.
Your phone holds many valuable materials such as gold, silver, copper, aluminum, and plastics that can all be recovered if you choose to recycle it instead of throwing it away.
So it takes a lot of energy to actually get, say, metals out of the ground. We have to mine the minerals, we have to crush them, we have to do all sorts of extractions to purify that metal. Once we have that metal in its pure form, if we can then recover it from, say, electronic components or cars or other industrial products, we actually require a lot less energy to put that material back into the economy.
Last but not least, we wanted to see what students think about the e-waste collection drive.
The fact that they're doing it is actually really awesome. I personally have maybe 4 cell phones just sitting in a drawer at home that I don't even use anymore. I wouldn't know what to do with them, so that now that I know about this, I'm probably going to bring them here next week.
I think it's really good because I know whenever I have an electronic to throw out, I have no idea what to do with it. So I might actually bring some things.
Recycling paper like this is easy, but it's not often you get to make sure that you get rid of your electronics properly. So, if you have any, make sure you come to your nearest campus next Wednesday or Thursday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., to help your environment that you live in just a little bit more. For On Sheridan, I'm Neil Rampone.
Thank you, Neil. Canadian company Delton Innovations is being given a Canadian Space Agency contract. The $700,000 deal is to develop a multi-purpose tool described as the space-age Swiss Army knife. The tool will be used for future mining on the Moon and Mars. It can also be attached to a robot arm for drilling into rock and gathering mineral samples. An Essex woman is using Google Translate to break language barriers with Syrian refugees new to southwestern Ontario. Laura Sutar Hasulo delivers goods to Syrian families using Google Translate to communicate. Sutar Hasulo has been a CN conductor for 30 years.
Prince Harry will visit Toronto on May 2nd to launch the countdown for the 3rd annual Invictus Games. The Games are set to be held in September 2017. The announcement was made by Kensington Place via Twitter early this morning. As a military veteran who served in Afghanistan, Harry is a driving force behind the competition for wounded or injured service personnel. Game organizers say that the 2017 Games will be the biggest yet, with more competitors, participating nations, and sports than ever before.
It might feel like winter outside, but our reporter Crystal Davine is going to take us inside the town of Oakville's greenhouse to give us a little taste of spring.
Although it may not feel quite like spring, the Oakville greenhouse is busy prepping as there is a lot to do before these plants make their way into the parks and gardens in the town of Oakville.
Between January and April, we're growing plants. We grow about 120,000 annuals. And then by the end of May, everything is ready to be put out into the parks.
The greenhouse grows flowers for the business improvement areas in Oakville, such as downtown Kerr and Bronte. These associates pay 60% of the cost, while the town covers 40% of the costs associated with growing and maintenance during the season.
The greenhouse relies heavily on the help of co-op students and volunteers. Without them, none of this would be possible.
I've been a volunteer here at the greenhouse for somewhere between 5 and 7 years. Just being here is awesome. Even in February, January, when it's not nice outside, it's lovely in here because it's always warm. And as we get on into the season, you can see there's the color. There's a little bit of color here now. 2 weeks from now, it'll be all color. It'll be gorgeous in here. And then you look around at what's in the town, you see the pots and the boulevards, and you say, I planted that.
Planting a seed in hopes of it blossoming into something more, the Oakville greenhouse is a great escape to a little piece of paradise. Reporting for On Sheridan, I'm Crystal Davine.
It's time now for a quick break.
When we come back, we'll take a look at the latest in the U.S. presidential race. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Bernie Sanders won very important Wisconsin primaries last night as he looks to close the delegate gap between himself and Hillary Clinton.
And I think that a lot of these super delegates are going to be looking around them and that are going to be saying, which candidate has the momentum? Which candidate is bringing out huge numbers of people and creating huge.
Sanders is building on a recent foundation of 7 victories in the western states. However, political strategists don't think he'll be able to catch up with Clinton and win the Democratic leadership. Political pundits are calling Republican Donald Trump a damaged frontrunner after his crushing loss at the Wisconsin primaries. Ted Cruz came out on top, upping the chances that Donald Trump could be defeated at the Republican National Convention.
Together, we will win a majority of the delegates, and together, we will beat Hillary Clinton in November.
As polls
Results changed the betting odds on the convention by giving Cruz a big chunk of delegates that Trump badly needed in order to win the nomination outright. The National Convention takes place in July.
A white Trump supporter that punched a black man as he was being escorted from the Trump rally by sheriff deputies will appear in court this morning. The incident happened at a rally in North Carolina. 78-year-old John Franklin McGraw is being charged with assault and disorderly conduct. The latest assault prompted scrutiny for the continued violence at Republican candidates' rallies. Brussels Airport reopened today for the first time since the fatal terror attacks on March 22nd. It was the first day back for employees for the airport and the first test for Belgium's upgraded security system. The day began with a somber moment of silence, followed by 3 flights intending to be symbolic in nature to represent the resilience of the nation. Amnesty International has reported that there have been a record number of executions around the world last year. A report released by Amnesty states that 1,634 people were executed in 2015, the highest number of executions since 1989. Iran, Pakistan, and Saudi Arabia are responsible for almost 90% of the executions.
The Panama Papers scandal intensified today as Justin Trudeau called for the cooperation of world leaders to end offshore tax evasion. Trillions of dollars around the world are reportedly being transferred through shell companies in an effort to avoid paying taxes. Big names such as FIFA President Gianni Infantino and Iceland's now former Prime Minister, who was forced to resign because of the scandal, have been linked to unethical business practices so far. Royal Bank of Canada was the only Canadian bank singled out in the scandal. CEO Dave McKay says the bank is reviewing its files in an effort to verify to determine whether any wrongdoing took place.
Messaging service WhatsApp is toughening its security. The company added end-to-end encryption to all of its messages. This means that not even the government can access them, and no information can be intercepted while being sent from device to device. WhatsApp has also released a statement acknowledging user security as top priority.
Scientists now believe that the Zika virus is linked to serious brain and spinal cord disorders. According to World Health Organization, the virus has evolved from being a mild infection to one causing large outbreaks and neurological disorders. This new discovery increases urgency to develop a Zika vaccine as researchers say the disorders can cause permanent disability and paralysis. The virus is transmitted by mosquitoes first found in Brazil and is suspected to have caused 6,480 microcephaly cases. Alligator hunters in Florida experienced the hunt of their lives after catching a nearly 15-foot alligator. Lee Lightsey, owner and tour guide of a Florida hunting company, wrote on Facebook yesterday that it was the largest alligator they've seen. The alligator was found on Lee's farming property after cattle began going missing. Before this, the largest alligator found in that area of Florida was over 14 feet long. Coming up after the break,
we'll take a look at sports with Molly and entertainment with Taylor. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. Now, there was a little bit of controversy to the end of the Blue Jays game last night.
Molly, it's only been 3 games into the season. What has the Jays fans up in arms?
Thanks, guys. Just 3 games into the season and already controversy ending a baseball game. After being down 3-2, the Toronto Blue Jays were trying to rally back against the Tampa Bay Rays. With the bases loaded in the top of the 9th, Edwin Encarnacion hit what should have been a routine double play, but Jose Bautista broke it up, a slide to second, scoring 2 runs. However, after further review, due to the new sliding rule, Bautista was called out and the game ended with the Rays winning 3-2. The Jays look to take the series today, but are down 5-3 in the bottom of the 8th. And bad news for Jays fan, Josh Donaldson left the game with an apparent injury. The Raptors bounced back last night against the Charlotte Hornets. It wasn't much of a contest earlier on, as the Raptors got out by as many as 19, but things became interesting near final minutes of the game when Kemba Walker getting and ones on both of his dives to the net, cutting the lead down to 4. But the Hornets fell short as the Raptors win 96-90. And the Raptors set a new franchise record with 30 wins at home and travel to Atlanta tomorrow night to play the Hawks. Here's a quick look at the remaining games for the Raptors this regular season. The Pacers come to town Friday night, which looks to be the Raptors matchup in the first round. The Raptors then travel to the Big Apple Saturday to play the Knicks. Then, next week, the Dinos play the 76ers on Tuesday, who have the worst record in the NBA. Lastly, the Raptors finish their season in Brooklyn to face the Nets. Today, not only did Canadian swimmers Penny Oleksiak and Brittany McLean qualify for the Rio Olympics, but they also set new Canadian records. 15-year-old Oleksiak set a new national standard in the 15-meter butterfly, finishing with 56.99. McLean beat her previous national record with 4.03.84. The two will now be a part of the national team that will travel to Brazil in August. Skateboarding isn't just a hobby or a sport, it's a way of life. And in this special report, Kyle Johnston gives us a kickflip at what it means to be a boarder.
Once viewed as a part of an anarchistic society, skateboarding has evolved in the GTA as a new era of boarders take over the scene and make their mark internationally.
Canadians, we used to not be like on the map, right? But like since like people like Bobby DeKaiser and the whole like Blue Tile Lounge scene kind of blew up, it's been exploding.
It's not just their skills on the board that is getting recognized. Canadians are setting trends with their own style.
And you got like salmon pink everything or like weird ass colors and like people just go for it, right? Just Toronto, you can be weird, you can do whatever.
Because of technology and the evolution of the business side, today's skaters are finding new avenues in production and art to express themselves in the skating industry.
I'd lean towards more custom designs because that's what sells. Everybody wants their own unique board.
With all this change in the skateboarding community, there's still the sense of the freedom and risk from the early days that attracted young skaters to the culture.
You get to go places, it takes you places that you haven't been before, and also like you build on yourself and your character. You know, you gotta be a little crazy to do what we do.
Whether it's producing your own film or designing your own boards, one thing has stayed the same through the years. Skateboarding is not just a sport, it's a lifestyle. Reporting for On Sheridan, I'm Kyle Johnston.
Former NHL star Eric Lindros has publicly announced he supports Roman's Law, a bill aimed at limiting concussions in Ontario sports. The bill was proposed after a 17-year-old died from concussions received while playing rugby. Roman's Law would have a committee of experts that would help the government come up with strategies to prevent concussions. After a loss to the Florida Panthers Monday night, the Toronto Maple Leafs look to redeem themselves tonight with the Columbus Blue Jackets traveling to the ACC. Although they will have to do it without Nazem Kadri as his season is over thanks to a 4-game suspension. The puck drops tonight at 7 p.m. On air for the last time with your sports, it truly has been an honor. To stay up to date with me, make sure you give me a follow on Twitter at Molly Hydewhip. I'm Molly Casey, signing off. Sending it over to you, Taylor Trabara with Entertainment. Taylor?
Well, Molly, reporter Chantel Prescott catches up with cultural performers that are impacting youth in and around the city through art and dance. Let's take a look.
We are Les Danseurs.
Les Danseurs is a Canadian Caribbean dance group that was founded by 3 young women to showcase their culture through the art of dance.
Everyone that we dance with, we really want to bring in that really close family dynamic. We teach dance to young kids as young as 0 to 5 years old and as old as they come, but as long as they're young in spirit.
With over 15 years of professional dance training, Ariel, Haley, and Renika have developed a passion for creating and telling stories with the use of their bodies.
As you move together, you kind of live together, and you learn things about yourself and about others that you wouldn't learn on a regular basis with regular interaction.
Les Danseuses was formed to support the advancement of youth and the Afro-Canadian and Caribbean culture within North America and around the world.
5, 6, 7, 8, freestyle! Freestyle! We love to teach dance and we love to do performances in places that might not necessarily get that opportunity and that experience. We want to make sure it's accessible to those that are in the lowest and the highest socioeconomic backgrounds.
I think dance is that medium where you can get together, create, practice, rehearse. All forms of that preparation for that big production is a teamwork collaboration.
LDS's ultimate goal is to lead and teach youth sustainability through the use of art and dance. For On Sheridan, I'm Chantal Prescott. Janet Jackson fans are going to be disappointed with her new announcement. Let's take a look at what she had to say.
We're in the second leg of the tour, and there actually has been a sudden change. I thought it was important that you be the first to know. My husband and I are planning our family, so I'm going to have to delay the tour.
Is the 49-year-old singer pregnant? Nothing is confirmed yet, but speculation has definitely been sparked. Jackson married Assam Almana back in 2012, her third marriage since 1984. She hasn't said when her tour will pick back up again, but I'm sure fans are eager to know. Toronto rapper Drake has just released 2 new songs on iTunes, and trust me, you'll be hearing them on repeat a lot. His new song, Pop Style, features Jay-Z and Kanye West. They are being credited as The Throne, which is most likely a reference to their 2011 collaboration. His second song, One Dance, features Wizkid and Kyla. Drake's new album, Views from the 6th, is expected to be released this month. Beyoncé is feeling a little uneasy about Texas firm Fiancé. The singer is suing this U.S. company, saying that the brand name is way too close to her own trademark name. Legal papers are claiming trademark infringement to the specific mug the company has been selling, labeled Fiancé. He put a ring on it. Beyoncé says the label is using her hit Single Ladies to make sales. Marvel and Ryan Reynolds fans are going to be excited to hear that Deadpool 2 goes into production later this year. It was confirmed that Reynolds officially signed on to the sequel this week. No release dates yet, but it's estimated to be out in a couple of years. The first Deadpool movie made $754 million globally. That's all the entertainment news I have for you guys today, and although this is my final entertainment newscast, you can always hear my opinions on all the latest on my Twitter account @TaylorJabara. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks, Taylor. We'll be back after this short break.
We'll take a look at our final weather report. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back. Well, Gaston, Mother Nature can't seem to make up her mind as we head into spring.
All I'm asking for is some consistency, caveat. I would finally like to put away my winter jacket. Let's go outside to Delisha, who has the latest updates in weather.
Gaston, it seems like winter has a tight grip on us. It's the third week of spring, and it definitely is not feeling spring-like at all. Right now, it's mainly cloudy, sitting at a high of 3, moving up to a high of 6 overnight. Let's take a look at this week's forecast. Thursday will be mainly cloudy with showers at a high of 6, dropping to a low of -1 in the evening. We are expecting a little bit more of winter for Friday with scattered flurries sitting at a high of 3, ending off with the night with a little chill at -5. Saturday will clear up with a mix of sun and cloud. Temperatures are set to be at a high of -1, dropping to a low of -6 at night. Finally, lots of sunshine for Sunday. Temperatures will be at a high of 2, dipping down to a low of -1 in the evening. No sunshine for Monday. It will be mainly cloudy with a 70% chance of rain sitting at a high of 6, going to a low of 3. Well, this is my last time on air with your 5-day forecast. It has been such a fun and amazing experience. I'm Delisha Williams signing off. Back to the studio.
Today marks our last show here at On Sheridan. We've had an incredible time bringing out you guys the news.
We'd like to take this moment to take a look behind the scenes and sincerely thank all of the faculty for getting us to this point. We want to shout out Uncle Steve, Mother Mary, Cher Bear, and Aunt Nicole.
And we can't forget the backbones of our studio, Nick and Greg. You guys are the real MVPs, and we could not have done it without you. We would like to call everyone from the program to come join us in the studio for one last time to say goodbye.
Oh my God!
Hello! Come in, guys, come in. Huddle in, come on, huddle in. Huddle. And I'm Gaston Calzado. Have a great day!